Money can buy you almost anything. It can't buy you immortality. That you have to earn. I'm gonna look you in the eyes, and I'm gonna tell you the future. It's an American story, and that's why Americans are gonna love it. People are gonna build you up. God, are they going to? Because when you're great and new, we love you. Man, we'll build you into something that doesn't even exist. You're gonna change the fucking world. But you know what? Once they've built you as high as they possibly can, they're gonna tear you back down. It's the most predictable pattern. We build you into something that doesn't exist, and that means you have to try to be that thing. All day, every day. That's how it works. And we do it again, and again, and again. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. You're gonna be attacked, betrayed, exposed, and humiliated. And you'll survive that. A lot of people can climb that mountain. It's the way down that breaks them. Because that's the moment when you are truly alone. And what will you do then? Can you summon the will to fight on through all the pain and rise again? That will be the defining question of your life.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome. Good evening, friends.
Hey. For anybody who hasn't joined us before, I'm Nevs.
And I'm Carrie.
And I'm Moxie.
Nevs, Carrie, and Moxie. Tonight we're going to be talking about the big Trump arraignment indictment that's happening in Miami today. He's about to speak soon. But that being said, we can talk through some of our thoughts before his speech and some of the happenings that have been going on over the last several days leading up to this. And generally, we usually do a roundtable, but I think we don't have like segments of our podcast tonight. So I think we're just going to have a little conversation. Yeah. And thanks for anybody who wasn't able to see us live and is joining us later too. We appreciate it. And if you like the podcast, please like it and subscribe. It just helps our podcast get views to more people. So Moxie, how are you tonight?
I feel a little off. Today has just been weird. Like the energy just feels really weird around the whole day. I don't know if you guys are feeling like time isn't passing the way it should.
Yeah, I haven't even had time to think about it because I worked all day. I've got family here visiting. How are you feeling, Carrie?
I'm doing fine. It's been cooler here in Texas. It got really hot, and then it's going to rain for another 7-8 days, and it has been for about 3 or 4. It's nice, very cozy.
That sounds very cozy.
Yeah.
I have family here, so I'm doing great. It's really nice to have my close family here and just doing fun stuff and spending some time outside. And I'm working too, unfortunately. Well, I've got family here. I need a vacation, right?
You do. Do it.
Yeah. So yes, this indictment came out. It seems like it came pretty fast compared to other ones.
Were you surprised? Were you ladies surprised?
Well, I wasn't surprised that there was an indictment because you just know that that's what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. But I was surprised how quick it came. Mm-hmm. You know, because it feels like they just announced the special prosecutor. Well, it was less than a year ago, wasn't it?
It's like October.
Yeah.
Well, the clock is ticking for them. So.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
2024 will be here sooner than they think.
Yeah. I mean, it's election season right now, right? I mean,
it already is. For sure.
So with that, did you guys see that they are making sure that Trump gets a nice, speedy trial?
Oh, right. Was it like between 21 and 60 days. It could go.
They're pushing it as his right to a speedy trial, which all Americans have or should have. We're not going to talk about what's happening to our J6 people right now, but
well, I will actually say something about that. So they also have the right to a speedy trial, and one of the things that the prosecutors have done was offer them deals if some of the things that they're giving things up, including some of their rights to be able to maybe not be in jail while they're awaiting trial. And some of that is giving up that right to a speedy trial. Some of it's giving up like their guns. They have to hand the guns over. They have to agree not to leave their, they can only travel within certain miles of their home. They're giving up all of their freedoms pretty much. And they're being told to be careful what they post on social media. So now let's get back to Trump. Sorry. I just wanted to throw that in there because it's super.
You don't want to forget about them because
it should be unconstitutional for them to bargain with people to give up their rights for something related to a trial.
Isn't it unconstitutional? I mean,
you would think it is, but they make these deals.
So I was listening to someone today that explained that a lot of people will waive their right to a speedy trial because that means, well, let's put it this way. Do you want to hurry up and go to prison, or do you want to let it play out as long as it can before you have to lose your freedom? So that's quite often why people will waive their right to a speedy trial. It doesn't sound like they want to let Trump do that, because I've seen things around saying that they probably won't have the trial until 2025. But if they speed it up,
they don't want him to pardon himself.
Not only that, but they want to make sure that you be quiet. Siri decided he wanted to say something. But if they can use this to interfere with the election, they're going to use it. And the funny thing is his support is only growing.
Oh yeah.
Well, and
all of this,
and it's likely that it would get tossed out. We'll get into that. And so really the indictment is not evidence of anything, but the headlines are very, catchy, and they're using it. I mean, they're charging documents only, and they're presented one way by the prosecutors with no defense. And it's usually meant to serve as a messaging tool, and prosecutors look to the public for their response. But have you noticed that they're not getting the response that they were wanting?
What are you saying is used as a messaging tool?
An indictment.
Oh, an indictment.
Yeah, because it's not evidence of anything. We don't.
No.
It isn't. But a lot of people get confused, or they don't realize that. And then the media, of course, grabs it, and the headlines like, "Oh, he's scrunched over," in court in the arraignment today, or Paul Ryan saying, well, now the American people, his base, that you're going to see he's not electable. All this crazy stuff. That is what they want. And yeah, so.
That is very true. Oh, go ahead, Moxie.
I'll say something. Oh, my computer just went dark. But why is it doing that? There is a saying, and I brought this up last time we were doing this because it's Groundhog Day. We're doing this again. Trump's being arraigned. But last time, there is a saying that goes around that you can indict a ham sandwich.
Right.
It doesn't mean the ham sandwich did it, but you can indict it.
Exactly.
Yep. You absolutely can. Yeah, I'm looking for. So I'm monitoring the situation on Rumble to see when President Trump is speaking. I'm going to interrupt us.
Okay.
But this is what so yeah, I forwarded this. I don't know who, somebody posted it in our
Archie did.
It's me.
Oh,
I
did
did this this morning.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I need this.
I didn't see this down here. I posted it in my chat this morning. So yeah, it's arraignment day again. Yeah, Vuja Day then followed it up with a video clip from the movie, which was kind of funny. So I just want to quick say hi to Herb and Magnolia, who are in
Oh, hey.
Rumble. Herbie says,
Hey.
evening, friends. I'm so excited. And Magnolia said, good evening, ladies. So we love you guys. Thank you for joining us.
Great to have you with us.
Yep. Yeah, I'm so happy you could join us live, because I'm sure there's other live streams covering this as well. So, but yeah, I'm monitoring RSBN, waiting for President Trump to speak, and we will cover it live. So anyway, let's continue. I'm sorry for the interruption.
That's
so just
okay.
like last time, they scheduled him to talk at 8:15 Eastern time, which happens to fall right in our podcast.
Yeah, it's just magically falls when we have this scheduled.
Well, did y'all see, just as far as what's in the documents, because we obviously don't know, right? But
well, I've got the indictment.
Right, but like we haven't seen it. But they claim that Trump, that they threatened, the documents threaten national security. But did you catch that Trump claims they prove criminality of the deep state and their plot against him during Russiagate and about election interference?
I saw him post something like that. I didn't get that queued up to show.
Oh, are you talking about the picture of the Monroe Doctrine behind him? Or
I don't know. Is it something you gave me to queue up?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. All
But
right.
then there's also documents that on Obama's Iran nuke deal that Trump dismantled in 2018.
Mhm.
So
It's interesting, isn't it?
it really is. Yeah. So, it seems like they just want to get their hands on what
You know what else is super interesting is, and maybe I will pull that up too. But so Trump posted that Pandora's box has been opened. Was it Trump that posted that? Let me pull that up real quick, because I think I forwarded. Yeah. Okay. So here's what came out yesterday is Senator Grassley. This is so interesting. Senator Grassley revealed that there is a very highly, and everybody's agreeing, even Democrats, that it's a highly credible FBI informant that says the Burisma exec who allegedly bribed Joe Biden has 17 audio recordings.
17
audio recordings speaking with Joe and Hunter. And what else is interesting is that Trump just told us that Pandora's box has been officially opened. It's just I feel like really this is so popcorn worthy. It's so interesting. And it's almost weird that both of those happened yesterday, where Trump said Pandora's box has been opened, and he also posted on Truth Social about unsealing. I got to find that. There was 3 of them. There was and I think Pepe Deluxe, and I will pull his post up because I find this quite interesting. Is somebody in his chat posted I'm gonna copy this and show it because Pandora's box being opened, and then let me share my screen real quick. I don't know if you guys can see this, or maybe make it bigger. But Trump said now that the seal is broken, in addition to closing the border and removing all the criminal elements that have illegally invaded our country, making America energy independent and even dominant again, and immediately ending the war between Russia and Ukraine, I will appoint a special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in history, Joe Biden, the entire Biden crime family, and all others involved with the destruction of our elections, border, and country itself. So but it's interesting. He said, now that the seal is broken, then yesterday he said in an interview, Pandora's box has been opened.
Mhm.
And here's a cue drop that says the first indictment unseal will trigger a mass
Oh,
population awakening.
whoa.
The first arrest, he was also arrested today. And I think it was the storm has arrived, or was it? Somebody posted that he was handcuffed.
No.
That was absolute, but there's
Oh,
no proof.
was it absolute? Okay.
It-
First
did
arrest.
that- I didn't see that. Did Moxie, did you see it?
I did.
Oh, wow.
So it didn't happen? He
It
wasn't?
didn't happen. He
Okay.
was not.
Okay, good. That's what I was saying.
Whew.
Yeah.
All right. First arrest will verify action and confirm future direction. They will fight, but you are ready. Marker 9. So this was pretty interesting,
Absolutely great catch.
right?
Yeah. Well, Media 5 that I gave you, Dan Bongino talks about what just came out, which you brought up. Let's play
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
You want to pull
I
that
will
up?
totally play that. And if Trump starts speaking, I will interrupt it.
Okay.
Okay. Media 5. Let's see. Where's number 5? Let's watch this.
You have to understand what's going on. The timing here is not accidental. Evidence came out today, hard evidence, that the President of the United States, while he was Obama's vice president, was involved in the biggest political payoff in human history, in a political scandal. This is all about making Trump go away and covering up for not just Biden, but covering up for Obama, Rob.
Yeah.
Remember, Biden was the vice president. If he was paid a bribe for policy decisions, what policy decisions? He can't make them. He was Obama's vice president. Everything is about covering up for the Obama-Biden regime. That's all this is. The timing here is not accidental. That's what the collusion hoax was, too.
Ooh.
There it is.
Ooh,
Right?
there it is.
I mean, that's it. I mean, that came out, and then wasn't it like the next day? They wanted to get that. Well, I mean, not that the media would report on that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Was it the next day?
It was very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's crazy what's going on.
Mhm.
I have do you have any other thoughts, Moxie, while I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to pull this PDF up?
I don't. I mean, what struck me in that video was Dan Bongino didn't sound like Dan Bongino, but it was just really weird. He just didn't sound like himself. Not that it's not real. That's not what I'm saying at all. But yeah, it's really weird, the timing of all of that. It happened almost exactly the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yeah,
trying to vary things the best they can.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, there was something else when I was mentioning what Trump says he has and what they want in those documents. Media 6 is a Truth Social post. I should have had you pull that up. I forgot about it.
Is it the image?
Barry?
Yeah. I've got it.
Yeah. So it reads that sources tell me Biden DOJ was after Trump papers on Iran, particularly about dismantling Obama's Iran nuke deal. And it's interesting that the architect of the Obama deal, who is now working for Biden, is Jake Sullivan. It was Jake, and now is in the Biden. He's the national security advisor, right? But then look at this. Who is his spouse? The counselor, top aide to Merrick Garland, Attorney General.
Right? The connections, man.
Who personally ordered the raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate to allegedly find this and seize the nuclear secrets. So, you know, it
Oh, look at that name, Maggie.
yeah, yeah.
His aide's name is Maggie Goodlander.
Uh-huh.
Coincidence? Don't bet on it.
No.
Yeah, I like how he asked this, like, who would be most interested in securing that information?
Right.
This is a really good question worth pondering. Oh, I didn't have that queued up. I should have.
Now that is a good question worth pondering.
I forget I have my little button here for that.
So everything we're seeing it's not really what's actually going on.
Yeah. I hope you guys are monitoring for the speech because I took it off my screen so I could show this. One thing I wanted to just point out quick, we're not going to go through this 49 pages. But here's no, I highlighted some things. So here's what I wanted to highlight. All throughout this document, they talk about documents with classified markings. They don't say they are classified documents. Mm-hmm. So there's a difference because all documents that get classified markings, mm-hmm. but when they're unclassified, they don't take the markings off. You know, you stamp a document that classified is still on there.
Still there.
Yes. So I found this throughout the document, classified markings, yeah. markings all over the place. Now who knows, maybe some of the stuff was classified and didn't get unclassified. I don't know. He says he unclassified everything.
Yeah.
So we'll find out.
I noticed that too. And it's fascinating because I was watching an interview with Kash Patel and Jan Jekielek on Epoch Times. And it's interesting that he's being indicted under the National Defense Information Rule of Law. So they reached back over 100 years ago. Okay.
Oh,
it predates the Classified Acts, the Presidential Records Act. Okay. So the PRA supersedes the National Defense Information Rule of Law. Okay. Anything that comes after that came like 55 years later, I think it was.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So why aren't they charging him under the Classified Acts? Right? Think about it.
Now that is a good question worth pondering.
So it is an old law that I don't even think it's ever been used. It's under the Espionage Act, right?
Yeah. That's the espionage one from 1913 or 1917.
I think so. I don't have the exact date. And so it's really interesting that if the judge, we're going to get into the judge because that's really interesting. Uh-huh. But if the judge nullifies the charges under the Presidential Records Act, then everything gets thrown out.
It has to. It has to.
Yeah, because it goes in order. Because that means that he declassified everything and there's no charges. None of it applies. And Kash did mention in addition, there's a lot of ways that a lot of things that can be done. There's an appellate process. It's called an interlocutory, where Trump can appeal to the judge's ruling. I don't even think that will need to be done. But did you hear what happened with the judge who was selected?
Oh, she was a Trump appointed judge, and they're trying to get rid of her.
Right. So it's just so fascinating. I think it's divine justice because the DOJ drew Judge Eileen Cannon. She's in that district. There's like 25 or 30, and it's just you draw, right? And that's who they drew.
I know. Yeah, I don't remember. Why are they trying to get rid of her?
Because she's a Trump appointee.
I know, but they had some lame reason, and it's like, wow, how come they don't complain when there's another judge that's an obvious judge for Democrats that gives Democrats donations? You never hear them complain about that.
Well, of course not.
So
what about the prosecutors? I'm sorry. I was just so fascinated. What
about them? I haven't looked into them.
Okay. So, and again, this is Kash. Kash Patel, he's still he's a security top advisor to Trump. And so Jack Smith, everyone knows Jack Smith, very corrupt. But when you look at it, right?
Jack Smith. Well, I know he's the main special prosecutor.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but just a little something on him. He was the head of public integrity at the DOJ when they charged Governor Bob McDonnell in Virginia. And at trial, he was found guilty. But
what did they charge Governor McDonnell with?
You know, I don't have that case. I just really didn't want to go into it. But the point is, it's okay, is that the Supreme Court reversed it due to prosecutorial misconduct and unlawful application of the law.
Oh, really?
That's this guy. Okay. But it gets better. It gets really good. So his staff are being kept hidden. And there's actually a gag order preventing the release of his staff. And prosecutors are public figures, and especially in a case like this, they are not releasing.
Wait. We got to back up.
Yeah.
Gag order?
Yeah.
For what?
So that they can keep hidden who the prosecutors are.
What?
I know. Okay. Do you want to hear some more crazy stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they've been able to rectify this, but the prosecutors actually went to a federal judge and asked to withdraw Trump's attorney-client privilege to discuss options, and the Trump granted it. Did you read about that?
I did read about that today, actually. Didn't that just happen?
Yeah. I mean, but so does any person that's indicted are they not able to talk to their own attorney?
Right.
It's a violation of our Bill of Rights. Amendments 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 10 specifically state that we have a right to counsel. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, these people, they have contempt for our Constitution, and it's just a blow to both. But okay. So Kash.
Well, not only that, there's client attorney privilege, and they're forcing Trump's attorneys to testify.
Right. And they had one that they offered a judgeship to, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. To, I don't know, maybe bail on Trump, or I'm not even sure what it was he or she was supposed to do. I don't know. I don't have that name. But
to testify against him, offered a judgeship.
Yeah. So these are the shenanigans that are going on. But also, Kash believes that the federal prosecutor in the District of Miami that will be the special counsel, kind of like Andrew Weissman was to Robert Mueller, right? You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, Karen Gilbert is the prosecutor, or excuse me, the deputy special counsel. So who is she? In 2009, she was the chief of narcotics in the Southern District of Florida, which is the big drug importation hub in the U.S. And in a particular case, against a physician with prescription drug violations, she authorized wiretapping of the defense attorney's phone to hear, to hear what
you've done some digging, girl.
To the investigators. So, I mean, but these are the things that the public should be able, and because Kash has his sources, this is who, you know, he has pretty good insight into who they've got lined up over there. And then, right. And so it was all discovered. And before she could be fired, she resigned. And
is this on the clip that we have of Kash?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Continue.
And then the number 2 and 3 are Lisa Monaco and John Carlin, who were in the DOJ, and they were the ones that launched Russiagate.
Interesting.
So,
Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
First we set out to deceive, I think is.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's what's happening.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Trump is still not speaking. We're still waiting.
Do you want to play Kash? There's a Media One is a clip.
Sure. Since we're talking about Kash right now, he's got great insight into things.
Oh, yeah.
I will say if President Trump comes out and starts speaking, we will interrupt.
Okay.
let's go ahead and play that clip. It's a minute and a half about.
He has said publicly over and over again through counsel and others, there's a Presidential Records Act applies to me, and also the Declassification Authority applies to me. So now let's see if the judge down in Miami will apply the Presidential Records Act to nullify, I think, a bogus prosecution coupled with the president's authority to declassify things. And we can talk about the obstruction and conspiracy charges as they flow. But generally speaking, Jan, if you're going to be charged with obstructing justice, you have to be charged with obstructing an illegality. If President Trump did not commit these crimes, there is no obstruction. There is no conspiracy. There is no lying to federal prosecutors or federal agents. It all flows from that one instance. And that's why the indictment is written in this sequential order.
Well, so why don't you spell out how the Presidential Records Act would actually be used to nullify this prosecution?
Simple. Let's take the indictment on face value. President Trump brought things with him from the White House when he was leaving the presidency. And I believe it was either to Mar-a-Lago or Bedminster. I can't remember which one he went to first. Okay. It doesn't matter if he took a sticky note or 10,000 boxes of information. Last count I had it, President Obama was still going through 3 million pages of documents he took. And it doesn't matter what's in them either. The same law would apply to him. And so the Presidential Records Act is simple. The president can take whatever he wants when he leaves office. That's it. And here's the kicker. Part of that act says it becomes his or her personal property. That means it transitions from being U.S. government property to the personal private property of the past president. That's the Presidential Records Act in a nutshell.
So that's one thing to call out what's not in the indictment. They don't even mention. There's not even one. I read all 49 pages. There's not one mention of the Presidential Records Act.
Of course, because they didn't indict him under it. But it supersedes the other one.
Right.
So the judge could very easily just toss the whole thing.
Yeah, he could. And the hypocrisy of going after Trump for these records when all past presidents have also brought records and they have classified markings on them. And not only past presidents, people who weren't president, like Joe Biden, because he was vice president.
And also didn't have declassification clearance.
Yeah,
well,
he did.
And not only that, Trump had 80 boxes. They found 1,800, I think it was, boxes.
Oh, you mean in the garage?
From Biden. Like he had them in different places.
He didn't have, it's the president that has sole authority.
Yeah, and Hillary Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and she was the
Secretary of State. Yeah, let's go down memory lane right now.
Well, here's yeah, and I actually have a clip to show, but she had I need to pull this up. She posted actually I won't pull it up because everybody's probably seen it, but when it was announced that Trump was being indicted, she posts on Twitter, you know, saying in light of recent events, she posted this old picture of her wearing a hat saying, but her emails. And so it's almost like she was gloating that, hey, I got away with it, but Trump's not getting away with it. Yeah. And she's selling those hats because Trump was indicted. Oh, you didn't see that she was selling them?
I didn't see that she was selling them.
Oh, I need to bring this up.
That is so crazy. But while you're looking,
go ahead.
She had, I looked it up, 36 different threads, because it's been a while, of classified docs on private email that could have been hacked by anyone. And some of them ended up on Anthony Weiner's laptop, if we all remember Anthony Weiner. And then, there it is.
Bringing this back in light of recent news. Get a limited edition, but her emails hat to support Onward Together groups working to strengthen our democracy, which means take down America. Help fund the takedown of America. Can you believe this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
You didn't. No, we're chatting. But remember, of course, everyone does that. She had they smashed the phones with hammers.
That's the clip. Yes. So we are reminding people that she not only had a private server, but also that she used a company called BleachBit to remove all information from a hard drive that not they claim that not even God can get the information,
Yep.
And then used hammers on mobile devices. And there are people saying that never happened. That never happened.
Oh, I have that clip.
I have it right here.
Okay, but wait, there's something else. Remember when her house caught on fire, but it was only the part of her house that was her office. That was do you remember that?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Her office caught fire.
That's dasting. I don't know that.
So
that's convenient.
So this clip, and I have to give Awakened Outlaw credit. I've posted it recently, and I know Carrie, you pulled it up too. It looks like we both have the same clip. But CNN was going a little nuts because they couldn't believe that that was real information. She was freaking out live. Let's watch this. It's not that long.
President, they destroyed Blackberries with hammers in the State Department. That's not what one the president said.
Actually,
and
Evan,
hold on.
Can you fact check that? Hang on, Evan Perez. Hammers, fact check that for me, please, on the fly.
Yes, they did, Brooke. As you mentioned, there were 13 devices, mobile devices, and 5 iPads that the FBI said that in some way were used with her private email server, and they did, in some cases, just destroy them with hammers when they were done using them.
That's a pretty good way of just.
Hang on. Fact check this live.
She's at the end. She's like.
Oh my gosh, that just cracked me up. There is an update on RSBN that President Trump is now expected to speak at 8:45 p.m. So as soon as he does, we'll pull it up.
But I just couldn't help it because it's been a long time. But Sandy Berger, these are all the people that have done things that were obviously not the president, and they didn't even have the authority to do it. But remember, he was Clinton's national security advisor, and he literally stuffed classified documents into his underwear from the National Archives building.
Well, okay. So I hope you guys, so we're monitoring this, just waiting. But in the meantime, do you remember, since we're on the Hillary click, FBI had the vault of Hillary's documents that they found. So they conducted an investigation into the allegations that classified information was improperly stored or transmitted, which it was. But the interesting thing is Hillary said she didn't know what the C markings in emails were. Right? And then later, we're pleased that the FBI released these documents from the email investigation. And that's this vault of records that they released. And let's see, what was this? I think I had one more. An aide destroyed 2 of Clinton's phones by breaking them in half or hitting them with a hammer, but there's actually 13 devices that were destroyed with hammers. So anyway, I just wanted to share that.
That graphic that you had pulled up with the documents, the vault thing, said that there was stuff stored improperly. Can we talk about how her husband kept classified tapes in his sock drawer?
That is so true. And let me just say, before we go to the sock drawer, there's 2 pages here of there's 55 documents, and each one of these documents is multiple pages. So some have 40 pages. This one happens to have. So And they're saying they found like 100 and some documents from Trump, or pages from Trump, not documents. So I just wanted to share that. Okay, let's talk about the sock drawer. Go ahead, Moxie. Sorry, I had to share that.
Her husband, former President Bill Clinton, was keeping a whole bunch of these tapes that, he took, and because he took them and removed them from, the White House or his office when he left, under the Presidential Records Act, they became his personal stuff. So that covered him. But there's no excuse for his wife, who didn't have D-class clearance or authority to declassify anything, to have any of the stuff that she had.
Absolutely. And that was adjudicated in court, and he still has them. And so just that right there, two-tier justice system. We've seen it all our lives, right? I mean, they have their own laws there. I mean, literally.
Well, what's funny is that's what Magnolia just said in chat.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Magnolia.
Two-tier justice system.
Yep. But there's other people too. Remember General Petraeus when he was a CIA director in the Obama administration? He was caught with reams of classified docs that he gave to his mistress.
That's right.
Who was going to write a book? She was going to write a book with it.
He was indicted though, wasn't he?
Well, he was only charged with a misdemeanor and no crime, no obstruction, no felonies, no unlawful holding.
Here's a counter argument though that the left is making, and they are right on this.
Okay.
Trump signed into law to change it from a misdemeanor to a federal offense.
But the fact that he gave it to a citizen to write a book, that I don't understand.
I know.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's true. But the laws at the time were different than they are today.
Wow. Pretty crazy.
It is crazy.
But that also tells you how serious Trump thinks this should be taken.
That's
right.
True.
And I actually believe that he says he declassified this stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The Crossfire Hurricane stuff, he classified the day before he left office. I remember him posting about it somewhere or announcing it somewhere that it was all going to be declassified.
That's right. That's right. That's a good point, Moxie. I forgot about that.
I think Trump's lawyer in media too, one of his lawyers, talks about the two-tier justice system.
Oh, we're looking at the podium now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been on the podium for like 5 minutes at least. So, yep, we're keeping our eyes on it. Hopefully he'll be starting soon, but here's what it looks like currently.
So this was scheduled to be a fundraiser back a few weeks ago before the whole indictment thing came down. That's why everybody is in Bedminster right now for this whole thing. And it just got turned into a press conference now, I guess, because of what happened today.
What was it a fundraiser for?
I don't remember. I'm sorry, off the top of my head. I just picked that up when I was listening to Mike Lindell before we came live here.
Gotcha. It looks like some people are coming out from the back though, so I think it will be starting soon. Looks like they're getting things ready. Lots of people coming out. So he must have been meeting with people. And yeah.
I also feel like the whole Crossfire Hurricane thing was a way to distract from Hillary's stuff. Because that all started right about the same time that they started talking about Hillary's email server and everything that was going on. And they made it all about Trump and his Russian collusion and all of that, and trying to pin Russian collusion on him before the election, which was going to be happening.
You know, I think a lot of people are saying that it was meant to be a distraction, but honestly, I do think they truly feared him. I feel like when he said he's going to drain the swamp, they believed him.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't let an outsider
Mm-hmm.
come in and be president. And we're talking back in 2016, because that's when it all started.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You know, because honestly, like, if they had that 16-year plan where Obama was going to start
Mm-hmm.
and set the foundation,
Yep.
and then Hillary was supposed to go in and finish the job, they couldn't let anybody come in and, here's President Trump. We're going to go ahead and start watching.
Okay.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the U.S.
Thank you, thank you. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. It's a great honor to have you here. And today we witness the most evil and heinous abuse of power in the history of our country. Very sad thing to watch. A corrupt sitting president had his top political opponent arrested on fake and fabricated charges of which he and numerous other presidents would be guilty, right in the middle of a presidential election in which he is losing very badly. This is called election interference, and yet another attempt to rig and steal a presidential election. More importantly, it's a political persecution like something straight out of a fascist or communist nation. This day will go down in infamy, and Joe Biden will forever be remembered as not only the most corrupt president in the history of our country, but perhaps even more importantly, the president who, together with a band of his closest thugs, misfits, and Marxists, tried to destroy American democracy. But they will fail, and we will win bigger and better than ever before. Charging a former president of the United States under the Espionage Act of 1917 wasn't meant for this. An act for a crime so heinous that only the death penalty would do, and threatening me with 400 years in prison for possessing my own presidential papers, which just about every other president has done, is one of the most outrageous and vicious legal theories ever put forward in an American court of law. The Espionage Act has been used to go after traitors and spies. It has nothing to do with a former president legally keeping his own documents. As president, the law that applies to this case is not the Espionage Act, but very simply the Presidential Records Act, which is not even mentioned in this ridiculous 44-page indictment. Under the Presidential Records Act, which is civil, not criminal, I had every right to have these documents. The crucial legal precedent is laid out in the most important case ever on the subject, known as the Clinton Socks case. You know what that means? After leaving the White House, Bill Clinton kept 79 audio tapes in his sock drawer. They included discussions of U.S. military involvement in Haiti, discussions of U.S. foreign policy, both defense and offense, against Cuba, recordings of President Clinton's conversations with all of the many foreign leaders at the time. Think of that. Sensitive facts about trade negotiations taken from presidential briefings, discussions with the Secretary of State about conflict in Bosnia, and much, much more. Very big stuff. Not only was Bill Clinton never even considered for criminal prosecution based on the tapes he took, but when he was sued for them, he won the case. Judge Amy Berman Jackson's decision states, under the statutory scheme established by the Presidential Records Act, the decision to segregate personal materials from presidential records is made by the president during the president's term and in the president's sole discretion. You're surprised to hear that, aren't you? Any normal administration, even an opposing one, would consider that to be the end, but not the corrupt Biden administration. The Sox decision, as it's known, also states, quote, the National Archives and Records Administration, or NARA, does not have the authority to designate material as presidential records. I don't have the authority. NARA does not have the tapes in question, and NARA lacks any right, duty, or means to seize control of them. This is law. The president enjoys unconstrained authority to make decisions regarding the disposal of documents. That's unconstrained to make that decision. Neither the archivist nor Congress has the authority to veto the president's decision. The Presidential Records Act does not confer any mandatory or even discretionary authority on the archivist to classify records. Under the statute, this responsibility is left solely to the President of the United States. Think of that. That's the decision. Think of that. Now, just think of that. In other words, whatever documents a president decides to take with him, he has the right to do so. It's an absolute right. This is the law. And that is something that people have now seen, and it couldn't be more clear. They ought to drop this case immediately because they're destroying the country. And this is why no other president, even those who kept far more documents than I, has ever been even investigated, let alone charged with a crime. Because the sham indictment put forward by the Biden administration included staged photographs of boxes at Mar-a-Lago. Many people have asked me why I had these boxes. Why did you want them? The answer, in addition to having every right under the Presidential Records Act, is that these boxes were containing all types of personal belongings, many, many things, shirts and shoes and everything. As can be seen in the picture where someone, not me, I wonder who it might have been, dumped one of the very neatly arranged boxes all over the floor. They were full of newspapers, press clippings, thousands of pictures, thousands and thousands of White House pictures. The White House photographers, some are with us today. They took so many pictures and we saved all of them and they were in those boxes. clothing, memorabilia, and much, much more. I hadn't had a chance to go through all the boxes. It's a long, tedious job, takes a long time, which I was prepared to do, but I have a very busy life. I've had a very busy life. They make it more busy because you're always fighting. And under the Sox decision, there seemed to be no rush. I wasn't in a rush because that decision was law. The other picture that was so vile, you remember that one? It was angry and corrupt, was the photo staged by the FBI. And those that raided Mar-a-Lago, they were putting documents all over the floor. Remember that famous picture? All over, say confidential, said presidential, said all sorts of things. And it was supposed to be there like it was that way when they raided. It wasn't that way. They put them there, took the picture, and released it illegally to the press. They took my medical records, my passport, my
Not sure what's going on. It's live, so I'm going to try to load it up so we can see the rest of it.
I was supposed to negotiate with NARA, which is exactly what I was doing until Mar-a-Lago was raided by gun-toting FBI agents. I have security tapes of it. I gave them security tapes of everything. In a flagrant violation of the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, which protects the right against unreasonable search and seizure. And Sebastian, you covered very well, I must say. Very well. I'm not the one who thinks I'm above the law. I'm the one that followed the law. I'm the only one. It's Joe Biden and his corrupt Department of Injustice who think they are above the law. Never before have the two standards of justice in our country been more starkly revealed. Joe Biden had troves of classified documents from his time as vice president and even as a senator, which was completely and totally illegal. In fact, other senators heard about it. Dick Durbin heard about it. You have to see his response. There's no way that's totally illegal. Took him as a senator out of a skiff. They were shocked when they found out. They actually thought it was impossible to do. Biden sent 1,850 boxes to the University of Delaware, making the search very, very difficult for anybody. And he refuses to give them up, and he refuses to let people even look at them. And then they say how he's behaving so nicely. Many of Biden's classified documents were in Chinatown, D.C., Chinatown, which is shocking considering his family receives so much money from China. I wonder how many times the friends of ours from China review those documents. Chinatown, D.C. Others were unsecured at his so-called Penn Biden Center in Washington, which paid Biden approximately $1 million a year. The money supposedly coming from China, and still other classified documents were strewn all over his garage floor, where his now famous Corvette is stored. He's so proud of that car. There was no security, and the door was left open most of the time. It was open. All of those classified documents, all of those documents strewn all over the floor, piled up like junk. Unlike me, who had absolute declassification authority as president, Joe Biden as vice president had no authority to declassify and no right to possess the documents. He had no right. Instead of falling under the Presidential Records Act, Biden's actions fell under a much stricter Federal Records Act, which has very, very tough criminal penalties. Yet nothing happens to Crooked Joe. Nothing happened. Have you heard anything about the big search for his documents? No, only me. Most infamously of all, Hillary Clinton set up an illegal private server in her basement. You never heard this story. With the deliberate intention of violating public information laws so she could hide her pay-for-play scandals at the Clinton foundations or whatever. Hillary stored vast quantities of classified and sensitive information on her illicit server. Some of it happened to leak. It leaked into Anthony Weiner's computer. Remember Anthony Weiner? Into his computer. You don't want to be on his computer. And all of it was illegal because thankfully she was never president. She didn't have the powers to declassify. Thank you. Thank you. She didn't have the powers to declassify. It's a big difference. And neither did Joe. You know, Joe didn't have your mind. Have a drink. It's a little bit cooler than it was. It's pretty hot out here. Thank you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Great birthday. Nice birthday, isn't it? Nice birthday. Wonderful birthday. They were saying happy birthday. I was with Eric and Laura, the kids. Happy birthday, Grandpa. Happy. And I said, oh, great. I just got charged with, they want 400 years approximately. If you add them all up, a fake 400 years. Oh, thank you, darling. That's so nice. It's a wonderful birthday. We're going to make it into the greatest birthday of all. We'll make it into the greatest of all. When caught, Hillary then deleted and acid washed. Nobody does that because of the expense, but it's pretty conclusive. 33,000 emails in defiance of a congressional subpoena already launched. The subpoena was there, and she decided to delete, acid wash, and then smash and destroy her cell phones with a hammer. And then they say, I participated in an obstruction? Now think of it. That's called obstruction. There's never been obstruction as grave as that. She did this in the face of everything, and yet nobody did anything about it. The FBI and the DOJ protected her, did not issue subpoenas, did not use a grand jury, did not execute search warrants, and then the corrupt head of the FBI, James Comey, declared no reasonable prosecutor would bring a case. Can you believe it? And that was just one of many items. Hillary Clinton broke the law, and she didn't get indicted. Joe Biden broke the law, and in many other ways we're finding out, and so far has not gotten indicted. I did everything right, and they indicted me. But, you know, we're serving as a great example. In the case of Bill Clinton's national security advisor, remember that? Sandy Berger. He was caught stealing classified documents from the National Archives, very big ones, very important ones, by stuffing them in his pants. That's pretty. And putting them also in his socks. And he destroyed them and cut the tape with scissors, cut them all up. What Berger did was highly illegal, but he was given nothing, no jail time, nothing happened. There are countless other examples. Bill Clinton, who I happen to like, hard to believe, right? Before I did this, I was actually quite friendly with him. Nice guy. They should have used him a little bit more as an advisor on the 2016 election. He said, you know, you better get to Wisconsin, you're going to lose. No, we're not. You better get to Michigan, you're going to lose. No, we're not. They did. Bill Clinton lost the nuclear codes, and absolutely nothing was done about it. He lost the nuclear codes. The George W. Bush White House lost 22 million emails, a record. NARA cannot assure complete transfer of any of the Bush records. A document shredding truck was spotted on the way to Dick Cheney's house. Can you imagine? Hillary Clinton took hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of furniture, china, flatware, rugs, and more from the White House, and she wasn't prosecuted. How about that one? She took the furniture and the china. How about if Trump did that? You think Trump would have a little problem? The horrific violations of my rights by crooked Joe Biden's weaponized Department of Injustice are unthinkable. It's unthinkable what's happened. So bad for our country. Democrats all, they lawlessly pierced my attorney-client privilege with lawyers. What they did to lawyers, what they have done to our lawyers, all of our lawyers, they've done things that were absolutely horrible and unthinkable. The leaking has been unbelievable and highly illegal. They leak. We've learned more about, from the Washington Post, New York Times, about the DOJ's boxes hoax. It's a boxes hoax. Than from prosecutors themselves. We want to read about it. You pick up the Washington Post, which is not doing well, or you pick up the New York Times. But they'll do better now because of these things. You know, this is the only way they survive, but they'll end up dying. But it's not supposed to be that way. We don't want to learn from the Times. We don't want to learn from leaks. We want to learn from the people we're supposed to learn from. It's like a leaking sieve in Washington. But we learned nothing about the Biden bribery scheme or special counsel Robert Hur's investigation. Robert Hur is doing the Biden investigation. He's a very respected, very nice person. Very nice person. Mine's not such a nice person. Mine's a deranged lunatic, which are many times the magnitude of ours in both number and severity. That's the prosecutor that they gave. He has found nothing. He totally exonerated Mike Pence. I'm happy about that. Mike did nothing wrong, but he happened to have classified documents in his house. But they exonerated him, and Biden is a different story. I mean, so much. You have to really think about what I said. As a senator, he took all of those documents. It's unprecedented. The prosecutor in the case, I will call it our case, is a thug. I've named him Deranged Jack Smith. I wonder what his name used to be, Jack Smith. It sounds so innocent, doesn't it? Jack Smith. What's his name? Jack Smith. He's a very nice man. He's a behind-the-scenes guy, but his record is absolutely atrocious. He does political hit jobs. He's been known to viciously arrest a certain governor. You know the governor, Bob McDonnell of Virginia, and absolutely ruined his life and the life of his family. All these wonderful family members, I knew them, only to have the case overturned 8-0 by the Supreme Court. He destroyed that man and he destroyed that family. And by the way, I will tell you, I'm here and I love you all and we can take it. But what these thugs have done to my family is a disgrace. I will tell you that. And I say it to all of the fake news because there's a lot of it back there. What they did to my family, and that young man right there, he's answered more subpoenas than any human being in the history of the world. And you know what? They have nothing after all of those subpoenas. Literally thousands of them. Congress, fake counsels, Mueller report, all of this. All he did is answer subpoenas all the time. At least he's become very experienced at that. Congratulations. But Eric is fantastic, and what he and Don and Ivanka and the whole group, that's what they've gone through, and these are serious people. These are serious people, but what he's done to my family, what they have done to my family is horrible. He also tried to railroad John Edwards on a completely bogus legal theory that didn't hold up in court. It's no wonder this raging lunatic was shipped off to The Hague to prosecute war criminals using globalist tribunals, not beholden to the Constitution or the rule of law. Two things Jack Smith clearly disdains. You take a look at this guy, he looks like a thug. But then I watched him make a speech the other day and he was trembling because it wasn't his territory. He feels much safer in the inner sanctums of the Department of Injustice, where he can be in his room and scream at people. He's a raging and uncontrolled Trump hater, as is his wife, who also happened to be the producer of that Michelle Obama puff piece. It was total puff piece. This is the guy I've got. Don't forget, this persecution is being done by the same weaponized agencies that for 7 years have been running illegal psychological warfare campaigns against the American people, much as if they were trying to destabilize a foreign country. From the Russia hoax to the no collusion Mueller witch hunt to impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2, the 51 lying intelligence offers. How about them? They said it's Russia disinformation, and they knew it wasn't, which made about, according to some of the great pollsters that are right here, made from anywhere from a 10 to 17-point difference. And yet we still got more votes than any sitting president in history in the second election. And we actually did much better in the second election than we did in the first election. The fake dossier paid for by the Democrats. How about the fake dossier? Remember that one? I think that was easy to go home and say, hello, darling, how are you? When they read about that. It wasn't easy at all. Spying on my campaign. We caught them spying on my campaign. The FBI, Twitter files, and so much more. It's all been a battle of disinformation, one thing after the other, and all to protect the radical left misfits. It's also no coincidence that these charges against me came down the very same day. Evidence revealed Joe Biden took a $5 million bribe from Ukraine. Took a $5 million bribe. But the FBI and the Justice Department don't even want to talk about it. They showed something on television tonight. It had 0 time on the 3 major networks, 0. But my impeachment had almost all the time. I think I had 351 minutes. They had no minutes. Okay? I think a lot of people are going to vote. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to vote. I will tell you, I just left Miami, and I've never seen love in the streets like that. I've never seen it. We've seen a lot of love. I've never seen love like that because they know what we all go through. They know what we've gone through, and they see it, and they're smart. And, you know, many of those people coming from Cuba, Venezuela, other countries, they've seen this happening to their countries. I used to say that the United States, if it keeps going this way, it's going to be Venezuela on steroids. And now we're buying oil from Venezuela. Can you believe it? We have more liquid gold under our feet than any other nation, but we're buying tar from Venezuela, and we're refining it in Houston, the dirtiest, worst oil probably anywhere in the world, and we're refining it. So you can imagine what's going up in the air, and our beautiful stuff we're not taking out of the ground and making a lot of money and paying off debt and reducing taxes still further, which we were in the process of doing. They want to distract from the real espionage and the real crime, so let's use President Trump to do so. Let's go out and let's indict President Trump so they don't talk about the $5 million bribe. Just yesterday, Senator Grassley revealed that the Burisma executive who allegedly paid the bribe reportedly has Crooked Joe on tape. They have 17 tapes, I understand. He must be a nice guy to deal with, right? The guy from Burisma, nice company. They got him and Hunter on 17 different tapes, supposedly. But the FBI isn't showing them. Remember, they impeached me for asking a simple question about Biden's corrupt dealings in Ukraine. And now they see that once again, I was right. I was totally right. Joe Biden and the radical left can take foreign bribes and be totally protected. Republicans all, you must finally get tough. You've got to get tough. You got to get tough, and you got to show them. When you arrest your leading political opponent, we no longer have a democracy. When people are allowed to pour through our open borders and our elections are rigged, our country is in very serious trouble. When inflation is allowed to rage, when energy independence and dominance, we had independence and dominance. We were going to be soon very, very dominant. Within 6 months, we're going to dominate the whole world with energy, make a fortune. We were going to be paying off debt and lowering taxes at a level that nobody's ever seen, and they came in and they ended it. But when that's taken away from us, when interest rates and taxes spiral upward in an uncontrolled way, when murderers are allowed to roam, these are horrible killers, murderers are allowed to roam the streets of our Democrat-run cities unchecked, but the incompetent district attorney in New York indicts Trump for a crime that everybody agrees, every pundit, everybody, there is no crime. But murderers go out and nobody ever even comes and knocks on their door, and they know they're there, and they know their rooms, and they know their locations. and they're roaming our cities all over. And some of them are coming in right now through our borders. But then you have a nation that, as we are, is in serious, serious decline. We have a nation in serious decline. If the communists get away with this, it won't stop with me. They will not hesitate to ramp up their persecution of Christians, pro-life activists, parents attending school board meetings, and even future Republican candidates, which they do. We must end it permanently, and we must end it immediately. Now that the seal, so important, is broken, the seal is broken by what they've done. They should never have done this. This was an unwritten rule. You just don't, unless it's really bad. But you just don't. But the seal is now broken. In addition to closing the border and removing all of the criminal elements that have illegally invaded our country, making America energy independent and even dominant again, and immediately ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. I'll have it ended in 24 hours. I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of the United States of America, Joe Biden, and the entire Biden crime family. Name a special prosecutor. And all others involved with the destruction of our elections, our borders, and our country itself. They're destroying our country. And when I'm reelected, and we will get reelected, we have no choice. We're not going to have a country anymore. I will totally obliterate the deep state. We will obliterate the deep state. And we know who they are. I know exactly who they are. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. It's very simple. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They want you silent. And I am the only one that can save this nation because you know they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving. On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country, and we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you.
What a speech, huh?
Amazing.
He touched on all of our points.
I know.
That was incredible.
When he talked about the seal again, I freaked out because it just stood out to me, the Pandora's box, the seal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of that stuff. What a good speech. Any takeaways from you ladies?
Well, we were dead on with everything we were talking about because he covered it all.
Herbie says, dang, I wanted more. Oh my gosh, that was so good, wasn't it, Herbie? Yeah, super good.
And he's just, I did mention in chat, indefatigable. He is tireless. He just doesn't quit. And
how does he do it?
It's all by the grace of God. God, I believe it's God's strength. I mean, the man, to begin with, he didn't sleep a lot, right? But how do you go through?
Yeah, didn't he say he got like 3 hours of sleep every night or something?
Yeah, 3 or 4 hours. But I mean, it's like all of this stuff they throw at him. It's like it energizes him.
I don't know
anybody that can handle that.
I don't know how, because like if we were put in the same situations, how many times have they gone after and gone after and gone after? Mm-hmm. How many times?
He has to be the cleanest man in America.
I don't know. I mean, they're going after him for, what did he say? Like they're trying to get him on 400 years.
Yeah, right. That's a special kind of hate.
Right?
Yeah.
They want to make sure that he never becomes president again.
Well, and I don't know if you want to play it now, but Media 3 is, I think, appropriate right now.
Okay.
It's what they fear, and it's
okay. Sounds good. Number 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Before I play it, I just want to say one of the biggest things that stood out to me was that he said the archivist has no authority to classify records or determine what's classified. But I'm going to go ahead and play media number 3. That just really stood out to me. It's like, that's true. Why are they trying to determine what he must send back to them when he should be able to have whatever records?
Well, that's what I mean. It's like they want specific things back. There are things that incriminate them. When he's president again.
Pretty interesting.
Right?
All right, I'll play this real quick.
Tell me a little bit about the specifics of what he could try to do. What do you mean by that?
Well, think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like. He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies. I'm sure I'm on the enemies list. Because the president constitutionally does oversee the executive branch entirely, which includes the Department of Justice, prosecutors and investigators. And so he could direct that individuals be pursued. He could also direct all kinds of other conduct that people would maybe take to court to try to stop. But who enforces court orders? Mm-hmm. Mostly the United States Marshals Service, which is in part of the executive branch and reports to the president. And so President Trump could say, I don't care what the Supreme Court says or these district judges say. I'm telling the Marshal Service, don't enforce the court order. And so our Constitution really does give a rogue president, which is what this would be, tremendous power to destroy. And so that's why I'm trying to warn people. Given the way he said he intends to operate if he's reelected, this will be something we could never have imagined.
But the difference is when he sets in motion the investigations, they're all guilty. See, all of the ones against Trump are trumped up. They're right.
Yes.
Trumped up.
Pardon the pun. Well, no, actually it was intended, but right. But he has the ammunition to just blow them all away. And I think when he gets in again, it's going to be scorched earth. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I think they don't even know what's coming. They might have an idea, but I don't think they even know. What about you, Moxie?
They don't have any idea, but they just set the precedent.
Yeah.
That they can indict a former president for crimes.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm distracted. I'm looking because your video reminded me. I've got a transcript from Joe Biden where he was being interviewed. I'm just going to summarize it because I can't find the exact quote. It's super long. But basically, he pretty much said he's going to make sure that Trump is not able to get back into the White House. And if I find it, I will pull it up. I'm like, wow. And this was this was a transcript from let's see, it was dated when he was did a speech at was it a speech or an interview? It was an interview. No, it was remarks. Sorry. State Dining Room, November 9th, 2022. So it wasn't that long ago, just last November. And he was talking about having plans to make sure Trump can't come back. So if I find it, I will pull it up. But anyway, continue. Your video reminded me of that.
Yeah. Well, they're trying everything. Nothing sticks. You know.
I know nothing.
I don't think this is either. I don't think this is going to either.
Were there any other things that stood out to you, ladies, in his speech? I have a few.
What do you got?
Well, I wanted to let you guys go first, but okay. So the archivist was a big one for me because I never thought from that angle that the archivist doesn't have the authority to classify records or even determine what is supposed to be classified. And I was reading an article that they had asked for records and some were sent, but they said he didn't send all that they asked for. and that they threaten him that they'll go to the Department of Justice if he doesn't turn them over. And so this is going to be super interesting trial, even though it will be short. But I think the archivist might be in deep trouble for some of this stuff. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. The other thing that he called out was the staged. He literally said staged photographs.
I mean, that was so obvious, right? I mean, we all thought that, right?
Yeah.
And they were. It was ridiculous.
They were on a stage. Some were literally on a stage.
Yeah.
actually, while we're talking about that, I've got the pictures. Here's one that's literally on the stage. There's more in the storage room. Look at this. Now, you know how meticulous Trump is.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no way. This is totally staged.
Yep.
And this is what he was talking about, having a box dumped over, and that was a staged photograph.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys remember back when Mar-a-Lago was raided back in August of last year?
I need to point something out on this one. Before we go there on the Mar-a-Lago. This is Melania's bedroom box. Do you see the bedroom box there?
Oh, geez, yeah.
So anyway, what about Mar-a-Lago now?
Well, this picture, look at the window. Like, where is this bathroom?
Wait, what?
This is
Where
a bathroom.
Is this bathroom? Because look at the shower curtain goes over the top of the window. Like,
yeah, but I don't know.
Then the whole thing with the what is that thing called?
I think it's really a bathroom. I mean, there's a toilet and a sink, and there's tile in the shower. But you're right. There's a window there. It's like a basement bathroom or something. Who knows?
But beyond that, but when they raided Mar-a-Lago back in August, we were told that Trump had been working with NARA to get the documents that they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had been there the last time, they had asked him to put another lock on the door of where everything was being stored.
And he did it.
And he did.
Yep.
Like, this was all part of the thing. But what were they doing there for 12 hours when they raided Mar-a-Lago? Were they staging this?
Well, who knows?
But then did you also catch... Remember when the raid happened, he did not release the security tapes. And he didn't want to release the security tapes of what happened over those 12 hours. Mm-hmm. But he just mentioned in his speech tonight that he turned over his security tapes.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. Part of the indictment actually shows, talks about the security tapes, not of the FBI raid, but before that, where they can show that people moved boxes from one place to another. Like, what does that? That's not even, what does that prove? That they moved
boxes?
Like
when he was leaving the White House and they were being moved in?
So they were in one location, and I guess they have on the surveillance video that they moved them to the storage unit, and then took some from the storage unit and brought it to his residence. And he even said in his speech tonight, he's been going through, like, he's been taking time to go through the papers. So of course they're going to see videos of people bringing boxes to his residence to go through. He said tonight it takes so long. So that stood out to me. It made me think about that part of the indictment.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he said they keep saying I'm not above the law. I don't think I'm above the law. I'm the only one following the law. Mm-hmm. And that they violated his rights and pierced the attorney-client privilege. Like, pierced. He said they pierced it, you know. And I have a lot more things that stood out, but those are, like, the biggest thing was the archivist for me.
Mm-hmm.
How about you guys?
I agree with you.
going along with what you just said about the piercing the attorney-client privilege, them doing that for this case also means that they can do it when we go after the other past presidents that are going to be indicted over their handling of documents.
Yeah, it's like Kyle always says with those setting the precedents and templates. He's got this Substack. It's Just Human for people who aren't aware. Has a Substack. And he keeps going back to it because that was such a good Substack. It's pointing out the fact the precedent is being set all along the way here. Like you couldn't go after all of the corruption before unless there was something that could set the precedent for us to be able to do that.
And we're seeing this also with like his tax records. They went after his tax records, took it all the way.
Gosh, they've done so much. I forgot about that.
Took that all the way up to the Supreme Court, and they said, "Yeah, you can give, or you can see his tax records." Guess what? That's a precedent that they set now too. Like Trump is so intelligent that he just made them do all of this stuff that he's going to use against them in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know that he was checked out completely before he ran. I mean, I personally think that he was asked to run. I mean, who goes in there to lose $1 billion and have their life threatened? I mean, he had to know. He's not stupid. He had to know what he was walking into.
Right? He's always said, I have a good life. I didn't need to do this.
Did not need it. And the assassination attempts, the threats on his life, his family, you know, just what he knew he was walking into. I mean, they checked every corner of his life, and that's why nothing sticks, right? Because this is part of the plan.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Yeah, there's so much. And I know we had a lot of videos. We probably won't have time to show them all, but was there anything like that stood out to you, Carrie, that you want to make sure we do cover? Because I think we had.
Well, the Media 7 is all about Trump retribution. We don't need to see that because we already can see that this is setting the stage for when it's time to dismantle the establishment. And I really feel like the people had to see this to be prepared, and they're not only going to be prepared, they're going to be demanding it. And so that's what we're winding. It's what we're gearing up towards. But the, well, and somebody, I think it was someone in chat had mentioned that, you know, my brother or someone is not even political and they can see it. What's happening. And
well, how can you not? Like, you don't have to be political to see that this is injustice.
Absolutely. And so people, you know, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. They're piecing it together. And, you know, I think the media succeeded before to say, oh, it's a right-wing conspiracy, but they're seeing it. You
it's so obvious.
Like, absolutely.
If you deny it, it's almost like, you know, that people deny it really know in the back of their head that this is not right.
Yeah.
They have to, even if they won't outwardly admit it.
Yeah. It's that psychosis, mass psychosis formation deal that kind of happened in COVID too.
Oh, did you notice Trump brought up psychological operations?
Oh, right.
So we don't usually hear him talking about psyops.
Yeah. No, it's true. You're right. Wow.
I forgot about it, and I was the one that typed that in chat.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was
laying down the gauntlet for sure.
Yeah, man, he was throwing it tonight.
Yep. But I think Media 8 would be a great way to kind of round it up with, you know, final thoughts.
Yeah, I have a final thoughts video of Trump too. It's short, but yeah, let's go to Media 8 first, because this kind of, do you want to set up the video? I don't mean post it. I mean, set the context.
Yeah. So this gentleman, his name is, I don't know how to pronounce it, Callan Georgescu. He was a former president of the Club of Rome in Europe. And it's basically 100-member elite group of intellectuals, businessmen. They're selected from heads of state, government. They're high-level politicians, scientists. They're the elite.
Yeah.
And they, come together, and, I think that the world headquarters is the World Economic Forum, right? But they got a lot of attention. I think it was in 1972 for the Limits of Growth report. And let's just suffice to say that they're kind of on board with the whole, overpopulation and just all of the narratives that come out of the World Economic Forum. So that's who this guy. So he was a former.
Okay. So what he says kind of explains why.
Yeah.
The elite would go after Trump.
Yeah. Why we've seen what we've seen with this since 2015. It's a big reason.
Yep. All right. Let me go ahead and play it then. Let's do this. This is about 2 minutes.
Okay.
My main topic for our conversation today. For this reason, the world oligarchic system, they have the power on Europe because they control all the people like Bundeskanzler or president or prime minister or whatever there are. So for this reason, sorry to interrupt you, the situation with Donald Trump was a big shock.
They didn't expect that to happen. That was an accident, I suppose.
Absolutely an accident.
Not part of their game plan.
Was the first time of the oligarchy system was happened an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally you have to be Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And the process which we are dealing now with this pandemic and all these liars was supposed to be in 2016.
They were pushed into
exactly
early
in a sense to be in 2020 to be a disaster regarding food and water.
I see.
Which normally they want to arrive in 2025 now.
I see.
So the plan was a little bit changed, and for this reason, of course they will not succeed. This is clear. I mean the system is almost down.
Mm-hmm.
It's but of course there are the last moments, and we have to have the courage now, all of us, to say no, in a sense that UN could be a fantastic, can have the fantastic role, but is not, because it's totally under control of the oligarchs.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that these oligarchs, all of them, are related with the system of the pedophilia one, because we know that there are more than 8 million children per year which they disappear. 8 million does mean the entire population of Austria.
Wow.
Loaded.
Talking about the elite, the oligarchy. He said the World Economic Forum could actually be a good thing, but unfortunately it's controlled.
The United Nations, the UN.
Oh, United Nations.
Yeah, it could be. It was, I think, designed to be, but that's why all of the old guard need to be dismantled, because the people controlling need to be taken out. But I love that he said it's almost down. It's like,
that's interesting.
Yeah. And we know it, right? I mean, because we watch, we pay attention, and we see what's behind the news. And
why else would they be panicking if Trump got in office?
Yeah.
So, which actually feeds into, I've got a real quick clip of Trump, and it kind of shows why they should be afraid of him.
Okay.
This is when he and Pence were running, and of course they're afraid of him. Let's watch.
In my former life, I was an insider as much as anybody else. And I knew what it's like, and I still know what it's like to be an insider. It's not bad. Not bad. Now I'm being punished for leaving the special club and revealing to you the terrible things that are going on having to do with our country. Because I used to be part of the club, I'm the only one that can fix it. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement, and we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
So he was an insider. He knows how they work, you know?
Yeah, and they all loved him too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They loved him. They loved his donations. He was invited to the
Oh yeah, the press covered him constantly.
Yeah. And then, whoa, as soon as they realized he was running for president, man, had the intelligence community, you had our government, I mean, like, the media, everybody just going after him, going for the jugular.
Not until he started running for president and said he was going to drain the swamp. And I think they got worried that he really meant it.
Yeah.
Circling back to the beginning of what we were talking about at the beginning.
Because, I mean, remember the Trump Tower? Remember that thing? Because I think that was like 2015 or 2016. What was that? Remember when they had his home bugged? Do you remember that? It was.
Oh, yeah. And
like, that was really early.
They moved out of Trump Tower. His campaign did.
Yeah.
Because they knew it.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
So they started early. They panicked. And, but I really do believe that he was vetted and that they had to, I mean, think about it. Other presidents have tried to do what he is doing with the team of people.
They didn't have the balls of steel like Trump has.
Well, and from what I understand, it's been attempted a couple times and has failed. But I mean, JFK, they just get.
That's true. That's true. I thought you were talking like some people, current people, because I'm like, I can't even imagine anybody that has thick skin like this.
Oh, no. It had to be someone who was beholden to none. And I think that the majority of politicians, I don't know, was it Julian Assange that said that, if it all came out, the corruption, that 99% of Congress would be out. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they're so captured and so corrupted. They had to have someone from the inside that was beholden to none and that was, tough. And, you remember when Kim Clement said, I think it was in 2007, there will be a trumpet in the White House. And when he...
Kim Clement in one of his prophecies?
Yeah.
For folks who don't know? Yeah.
It was either, yes.
That's okay.
But he had a lot of Trump prophecies. It was 2007, 2012, I can't remember, sorry. But he said that there will be a trumpet in the White House. And when he speaks, the nations will tremble. So, and a lot of people would complain about Trump's, tweets and his attitude. It's like, who else? I mean, he was going to have and has everyone against him. All the powers that be. It had to be him. I mean, God chose him, so.
Yeah.
God doesn't make mistakes.
Well, yeah. Moxie, do you have any closing thoughts?
I had something and it just went away.
Let me shake you.
Like, I was listening to what you were saying, and then I was like, well, I should say this, and then my brain just went.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It couldn't have been that important. So.
Any other closing thoughts from you, Carrie?
Well, I found an interesting proverb.
Okay.
And it reads, it's Proverbs 16:16-19. There are 6 things.
I was just reading that.
Whoa. Synchronicity.
Yes. Go ahead.
You have it?
I don't have it up right now, but
you just read it. That's so awesome. So there are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him. Haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked systems, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who stirs up conflict in the community. Now, I don't know about y'all, but who does that describe? Like every single one.
Right? That's really good. Really good.
And these people are on the wrong side of history. They're on the wrong side of God. They are... I mean, the justice that they're going to face here is one thing, but God's justice is.
Yeah. Well, I love closing with that. Thank you for that, Carrie. But yeah, I think for me, just I'm not worried. They're coming after him hard. They're circling you remember that video with the lion and the hyenas circling. Yeah. Oh, I wish I had that up. Actually, that would have been a good one for tonight.
Christopher Walken. I think, what movie is that from?
Yeah, and Christopher Walken.
What movie? Darn it.
Audio behind it, but that was a really good video. But that's what's happening, and I don't think they realize, and I even posted earlier today, they should be careful what they wish for. I think a boomerang's going to come, and precedent is being set, and I think we should just enjoy watching this play out. What a time to be alive.
And if we did it on pay-per-view, we would get rid of our debt as far as the justice wins. we the people can watch it.
Put it on pay-per-view. Anyway. Yeah. Well, with that, I think we'll go ahead and close the show. I've got to get running here, but thank you, everybody who joined us live.
Yes, thank you.
For our extended edition. The speech was awesome. And I hope you ladies also have a good night.
Thank you too. You too.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Wow. Love y'all.
Bye.
Night.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see